Talk. This is Crane Durham's Nothing But Truth.
Welcome back, Crane Durham's Nothing But Truth. Proudly on, say it with me now, AFR Talk, nothingbutTruth.com, nothingbutTruth.com. Also, Facebook. Go to the Facebook page, American Family Radio, Crane Durham's Nothing But Truth. Hey, you need to, we got the record. We passed the record. We were going for 500 shoebox gifts in one day, and we are all the way. I won't give you the final count because I want you to be a part of this, and this is your opportunity to bless others with the gospel as well as some much needed items. Children are from around the world, 130 countries, through Samaritan's Purse, Operation Christmas Child, Cyber Monday. Why is it called Cyber Monday? Because people go to work and they get online and do their Christmas shopping. What about the internet tax? We'll talk a little later this week with Pete Sepp about that, National Taxpayers Union. But right now, you could call with a gift of $30 and AFR will pack the Christmas box, a shoebox full of items of toys, school supplies, and hygiene items. Eugene? No, hygiene items for those in need. Call 877-616-2396. 877-616-2396. If you didn't have time to pack a shoebox gift, you can do it right now. Think about this on Christmas of who you're touching, how you're transforming the world through the gospel. That's what we are called to do, and this is a way to do it. 877-616-2396. AFR.net. Operation Christmas Child, Cyber Monday. So, we return to Keith Ellison. Who? Boring. Stop it. Keith Ellison of I don't know what district he represents actually in Minnesota, but he's a Minnesota congressman. He happens to be a Muslim. He swore in on the Quran. I thought that was not the right thing. But I digress. Stay focused. Here it is. Keith Ellison is rationalizing President Obama lying to the American people about if you like your health care plan, you can keep it. All presidents lie. That's somebody else talking about that. But let's keep the story straight. How do you when it comes to lie? Well, they lied. They knew. They had the information. They knew back when it was passed. They understood this in 2010. They understand they limited the exemption. And so when they limited the statute for plans that could be carried as opposed to being replaced, meaning you would lose your health care plan. They knew this. And now we're getting estimates from the American Enterprise Institute to say 100 million could lose their health care plan. And getting these notices, I got a notice the other day. It was very interesting about how the changes impact my plan and how they will try to match one. Bottom line, they came back. President Obama tried to change history and say, hey, you know what? That thing about, what I said about keeping your plan, if it qualifies under the new plan, under the new law, otherwise it's a cut rate plan. But people with cancer who had these plans didn't think it was a cut rate plan. They liked their plan. And so he tried to change it. Then he had to admit it, but he really didn't admit it in an interview with Chuck Todd. And then he comes back and he says, I'll fix it. When Congress tries to do it legally through their Article 1 powers of passing legislation, he says he'll veto that legislation, invites the insurers over to the White House, strong-arm thuggery tactics. That's what we are seeing. I'd like to call it something else. I don't want the president to be accused of that. And I just did. Why? Because what else would you call it in light of how the administration has behaved? I win. I won. The idea that you're with us, and if you're not with us, we don't have time for you. And we're not interested in convincing you, unless it means the use of our power to convince you. So we'll invite the insurance heads to the White House through the front door, let them out the back door. Friday, a week ago. And then we get the rationalizations and justifications for the lie. Understand, this man has continued to show no respect for you, for me, the American people, in the way he's presenting this. Look, it's not about disliking this man personally, because it's about the president, the office of the president. So you don't have to say, oh, it's Obama. You could just say the president. Our president is lying to us. And members of Congress are defending him and even saying it shows his integrity, that he did lie because it was for the right reason. I bring you Keith Ellison making that very statement. There's a great rebuttal here, too, by the way, from Representative Tim Cole of Oklahoma. Take a listen or a watch or both. Roll it.
That the president said and did was in pursuit of trying to get Americans, all Americans, health care. So I think even though he may have said, if you like your decent insurance, your insurance that works, then you can keep it. I think that people really get that. And when he owned it, he said, look, man, if you misunderstood what I was trying to say, I'm sorry about that. I think that shows integrity. He didn't do anything to self-promote. What he was doing, he was trying to do to help Americans all over this country for decades.
I'm going to disagree a little bit
good intentions count.
With Keith here. Look, we knew back in 2009, 2010 this was going to happen. The Congressional Budget Office put out studies about it. We made the point. And we now know the administration had plenty of documents warning that millions of people were going to, we're going to lose health care here. So I think this does get to credibility as well as competence.
And also these plans, actually, many of these high deductible, high exclusion plans, they were not quality plans in many cases, and the fact is they were for a small, they might work for somebody who had a lot of money saved up, but for other folks, they just didn't. There's a reason those premiums were low.
It's interesting. Now, he did it for your own good. He did it for your own good. It was an admirable goal. Who doesn't want everybody to have health care, affordable health care, to be insured? Who doesn't want that? Okay, now that you all are on board like me, now that we are beyond the sandbox of the second grade mentality of, I want world peace. Who doesn't want world peace? If it means people living peacefully in freedom, respecting the rights of individuals. Who doesn't really want that? Who doesn't want people to be well, healthy? Who doesn't want that? What an asinine conversation we're having on this. You should be insulted not only as an adult, not only as an American citizen, but also just in the way this has been presented. He lied for your own good. His goals were admirable. So he has abused his power. He's lied to the American people, the president of the United States, our president. I don't want that. Then they're accusing Republicans, not about R's or D's, about accountability on the policy. And here it is. He's accusing Republicans. They want it to fail. They want it to fail. No, it's going to fail. We know this. We've been to this dance before. We've seen it. So why on earth would we promote something that we know is going to fail, expand the power of the state, inevitably lead to a single payer system that hurts access to health care for everybody? Because we've got to do it. We got to come together. We got to put aside our differences and do what's right for the country. Okay, let's not do this. You're being divisive. We don't like conflict. We don't want that. Okay, all right. I mean, do you get why I called it asinine? This is why. It's stupid. We're stuck on stupid. And we're really not, because so many of you have understood and are continuing to understand that this is about politics and spin. And what Keith Ellison did was, I'm going to spin it. And I'm really not going to tell the truth about what he even said regarding the cut rate plan. well, we shouldn't do anything, Crane, because the healthcare system is great. I'm not saying that. You moron. See, that's when I go, you must be stupid if you think I want to hurt people who don't have access and the ability to afford insurance that suits them best in the marketplace for them to access the very best health care coverage they can have. But remember, I dealt with that in the sandbox, didn't I? I talked about that. How, okay, what a juvenile view. Okay, we're going to sit here and we're going to go, I want everybody to have health care, and that was my suggestion. Okay, but then you go to how to do it. And let me ask you this. If Obamacare wasn't, well, actually, even if it's the law of the land as we know it, but bottom line, if it were a business, would you sit there and go, I'm going to invest in this strategy? These people have really got their act together. Here, that's an investment that's going to work. The only way this works is through coercion of the power of government. Doesn't take a Rip and Einstein to understand that, and it doesn't take a Rip and Einstein to realize 5-year plans don't work. Did you hear? There was a great piece. I wonder where this is. It was, I read it earlier, and it was about Khrushchev and how he tried to take back the advances in agriculture that he saw when he visited the United States, meeting Kennedy, and he tried to come back and tried to apply those, and no, he couldn't do it because the system, the culture of government is not able to do it. And you even have people admitting that admitting, well, it's an indictment on government. This is shocking, but I'm going to play it for you. And I'm jumping all around, by the way, but my team's on top of it. Brent, Jeremy, and Hannah working with me, and they know what I'm about to do. They know that I am about to go to cut number 8, where David Brooks, the New York Times, so-called conservative, I don't believe he is discussing this with, of all people, David Axelrod. Not David Axelrod, pardon me. He is speaking with Chuck Todd of NBC News on Meet the Press. Here's the exchange. Roll it.
I have to say people are praising whether government can work. Can government be nimble? Can it learn from its mistakes? And I would say the website is just a small symptom that it's not nimble. Government is like an offensive lineman. It can do something really well. It can do blocking. It can create order. But when you ask government to be a wide receiver, then you're asking it to do things it can't do. And I think we're in a situation like that. We're asking it to do things it can't do. Republicans win elections when Democrats overreach by asking government to do things it can't do.
David, the most interesting thing in this report, right, page 1. It's page 3 of the report. It says here that the team is operating with private sector velocity and effectiveness.
Yeah.
Okay, that is an acknowledgement that, you know what, if this was a government operation for a long time and it failed, now we're bringing in the private sector folks. I mean, that is an indictment on the whole idea of government as a solution, frankly, when you look at
and
this
the president.
And the president is bringing them all together. It was amazing what Gregory went on to. I'd love to play the entire segment. Perhaps I'll post it up there. Here's what you want to take away from this. Duh. Really? Yeah. He even admitted it, President Obama, about information technology, and it's backed up by the report by the group called they evaluated large IT projects through government over the last decade. 97% of them failed. 97%. Investors Business Daily actually came up with that one. Crane Durham's Nothing But Truth, pointing out the obvious. Still needs to be said when people are trying to spin it. Crane Durham's Nothing But Truth, AFR Talk.